Hello there, this is Ibrahim from Living Debt Free, a guide to financial freedom. And before we start this video, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button so that you do not miss one single video of mine. And don't forget to hit that like button and to leave a comment. So let's start. One thing that we talked about in our last video was making inventory of debt, a debt inventory, right? And being able to categorize what should be paid now, what is important, what is not, things like that. Another thing that I think should be talked about early in the process is self-control and making hard choices, okay? What I mean by self-control, obviously, is understanding that you have to live within your means. If you can't afford it, don't go and get a loan. Don't go get a cash advance. Don't put yourself deeper into that hole, because you'll never become debt free if you continue to do that. This is one of the biggest problems that most people have, especially in the United States, because when you're in a society that's just like, it's all consumerism. You have to have the latest iPhone. You have to have this. You have to have that. All of this it's an issue, and that makes you believe that your worth is basically the sum of the things you own, and this is not the truth. Your worth is actually the sum of the things of the debt that you do not have. Okay. So what I mean by making the hard choices, right, is understanding you have to, like I said, living within your means, and understanding what is the difference between a want, and a necessity. Okay, what is a necessity in your life? What bill do you have that you have to have? If your job requires that you have a cell phone with internet and everything, that becomes a necessity. If your job does not require it, then maybe you should think about prepaid. That way you can control your spending. And if you don't have the money to make a phone call, a lot of times with prepaid phones, people can still call you. Okay? A lot of people don't understand that concept. They go into, they like, oh no, I have to have a contract. I have to be able to make all these phone calls. Really, half the time today, you don't really most people don't even use phones to call. They use WhatsApp, they use FaceTime, things like this. And so at the end of the day, really what you want is like an internet package, right? And you can get a prepaid one and just manage wisely how you use it. And this is whether you're single or with a family. With a family, this is when the lines blur sometimes, because some people feel that it's a necessity to for example, to own a house. So, if I'm paying rent, I might as well own a house. It's necessary. It's not a necessity. One thing I tell people all the time: if you don't already own a house and you're in debt and you have no money to buy a house cash, or you don't have the credit to get a personal loan for like $50,000-$60,000, don't go into a mortgage, because at the end of the day, that rent, at least if you can't afford to pay the rent, you can always you leave the house. You don't have to worry. Your credit's not going to get destroyed. You don't have to worry about your house being repossessed, and you still ended up paying all this money into it. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the major issues that people have to understand. This is all part of self-control. This is all part of understanding the necessities in life. I remember I had a conversation with one person trying to tell me, well, if I don't own a house, what do you expect? Me and my wife to live in a cardboard box? Like, no, because if you can afford to pay a mortgage, you can afford to pay rent. And rent gives you a certain freedom that allows you, like if you found a job in another place that pays you more, but you own a house, and say your house is too big to rent. Some people, they get these huge houses and then they can't rent it because no one's in the market for a 4 or 5 bedroom house. You know, not many, especially nowadays. Most families in the United States are small. You know, you're talking about a 3 to 4 person family. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to find a family that, you know, it's not statistically high to find families that are 5 or more, even though there are. But really, most people, when they're in the market for rent, they want like a 2-bedroom apartment, 3 at the most. So when you have a big house, which is what a lot of people end up wanting, because they buy their dream, they want to buy their dream home. They want their family to be able to be comfortable. And then what happens is they have this huge 30 year loan that they end up paying 3 to 4 times what the original price is over the time period between interest and fees and everything. And at the end of the day, if you didn't have the money to pay for it, you lose it. You lose it all, you know? And then your credit's messed up as well. So what happens if you, for example, if you're in New York and you get offered a job in California and you own a home in New York, and it's really, technically, it's unrentable, right? And then you got to try to sell it and everything. So then you're still paying the mortgage on it. So now you have to go to California. You have to rent a place there. You have to pay your mortgage. Your bills double until you sell the house. And this is the problem, right? This is one of the biggest problems, right, that we have with renting. So when I talk about self-control, when I talk about self-control, when I talk about choosing, understanding what is necessity, what is a want. I'm talking about things that, okay, food, electricity, water, all these utilities. If you're paying rent, that's a necessity. If you're paying a mortgage, that's a necessity. But there's other things that we get, like when you buy groceries. What is a necessity, really? We have to budget ourselves. You have to live within your means. Maybe you like corn, maybe you like Frosted Flakes. You might have to buy the cheap ones, the fake Frosted Flakes. Maybe you want to buy, maybe there's certain meats you enjoy, but you can't afford it, so you have to buy the cheaper stuff. Certain cuts that you like, seafood, things that are expensive that normally you treat yourself to. You have to change your lifestyle while you're trying to become debt free. Once you become debt free, where you owe nobody any money, then things are different. You're able to, because then you're not paying all these bills. You end up having the extra cash, you know? And another thing I want to talk about before I end this video, the idea that savings, what is savings? Savings is not that you owe $50,000 on a house or $50,000 in debt, but you've been saving 100, 150, or maybe 20, you have money in the bank sitting there for a rainy day. That is not savings. Okay, all you're doing is delaying. If you owe $50,000 in debt, whether it's a mortgage or something, or $150,000, whatever it is, and you have extra money sitting in an account, you're doing the wrong thing. Okay, you should be paying. You know, it's one thing. Okay, if you have maybe if you have $1,000 in there just as a buffer, I can understand it. That's understandable. But if you have like $5,000, $10,000, some people do this. They have $150,000. They owe $50,000 in debt. Pay that $50,000 debt. You know what I'm saying? I can understand having a credit card and using your credit card as basically your debit card and then automatically having it come out of your account. That's fine, because nowadays, and I'll go into this in a later video, you can do that and build up your credit, because as long as you're paying your full payment, you don't pay interest. You know, and you need to stay away from interest. Interest is what gets you in bigger debt, and so do fees, right? So you need to look at your lifestyle. You need to see how you can downsize. If you have things that cost you money to have, that you have no necessity for, those are wants, then you need to get rid of them. Those are sacrifices you make. You know, sometimes if you live in a big house, but you can't afford the rent or the mortgage for it, you might have to move to a smaller place. Your kids might have to share rooms. You know, This is all sacrifices. This is all sacrifices we have to make. This is all making the hard and tough decisions. You have to do this until you can become debt free. So thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button, and smash that like button. This is Ibrahim from Living Debt Free. Thank you guys for watching.